Mary had a little lamb.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Holy hell.
Do you take a test every single day?
No, but I take a lot of tests.
Okay, and you don't know if you took a test the day of the debate?
Possibly I did, possibly I didn't.
If they vote out before the election, you are open to expanding the court?
I'm open to considering what happens from that point on.
Don't voters have a right to know where you stand?
They do have a right to know where I stand, and they'll have a right to know where I stand before they vote.
So you'll come out with a clear position before Election Day?
Yes, depending on how they handle this.
We were expected to lose. If you look at the original charts from original doctors who are respected by everybody, 2,200,000
That
people.
2 million figure, though, is if you literally did nothing.
People.
We should be thinking about making it mandatory.
How could you enforce that?
Well, you couldn't, but you can say, you can go to every governor and get them all in a room, all 50 of them as president, and say, ask people to wear the mask.
QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior. Disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact.
So are you for it or against it? You say you're not for it, but in your website it says you call it a crucial framework. The Green New Deal.
My deal is a crucial framework, but not the new Green Deal. The new Green Deal calls for elimination of all non-renewable energy by 2030. You can't get there. You're going to need to be able to transition, George.
We are working very hard on the DACA program.
Under your administration, no new applicants are allowed. And in fact, the DACA recipients now have to renew every year as opposed to every 2 years. So in fact, the DACA program has been curtailed by your administration.
Well, what happened is because of the pandemic, much changed on the immigration front.
Who do you owe $421 million to?
First of all, let me answer. What they did is illegal. What I'm saying is that it's a tiny percentage of my net worth.
That sounds like
you'll see that soon.
Did you hear what you needed to hear?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot more if you're going to hang around afterwards. I'll tell you more.
Okay.
Let's get
No, but I really mean it.
Wow. Wow. Happy Friday, Bastids. Oh, it's Friday. Oh, thank God, because that took every ounce of concentration that I've ever expended on any single political item. I mean, really, it was accomplished with 2 computers and 2 televisions. That's how it was accomplished. And pausing and stopping and go. Whoa! Well, it was like 2 town halls though from completely different planets, wasn't it? It was like one was from Uranus and the other one was from Earth. Holy crap! I just he is really up in Uranus. Is where Donald Trump is. And you know these message boards where people, you know, it's all biased and it's all this and it's all the president of the United States literally wouldn't denounce QAnon. He wouldn't denounce. And you know, you forget Savannah Guthrie is an attorney. You forget she's a lawyer, okay? And so she obviously understood the facts in the case, and she presented him with the facts and asked him to respond to the facts on Earth, the real facts, the true facts, the situation with no health care, no plan. He's been president for almost 4 freaking years now. No plan on health care. He keeps on saying 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. You're going to have a health care plan in 2 weeks.
I want to talk to you about Obamacare. Since the pandemic hit, millions of people have lost their jobs and thereby lost their health insurance. And almost 500,000 have signed up for Obamacare. Your administration just announced that you're signing on to a lawsuit to overturn Obamacare.
And replace it.
Why does it make sense to overturn Obamacare, with which people now are relying on? Democrats are going to say the man who's wanted to kill Obamacare is going to take away the protection for pre-existing conditions.
First of all, we got rid of the individual mandate. Pre-existing conditions will always be taken care of by me and Republicans, 100%.
But you've been in office 3.5 years. You don't have a plan.
Well, we haven't had. Excuse me.
Excuse
You
me.
heard me yesterday. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete health care plan that the Supreme Court decision on DACA gave me the right to do.
What is he talking about?
I do want to say that we're going to be introducing a tremendous health care plan sometime hopefully prior to the end of the month. It's just about completed now. In addition, next month we'll be doing the immigration plan.
There is no immigration plan. There is no health care plan. He was asked about his health care plan last night, and he actually admitted that there is no health care plan. He told somebody who stood up and asked him about the costs of health care plans and what he was going to do on health care and where was his plan. He told that person that he's aiming for a plan. It's so, I don't understand why fact-checking this man, playing his own words, his own lies about a health care plan, which is probably the most important issue in the middle of a pandemic, is somehow bias against the man who keeps telling you Sunday we'll have a plan, Saturday we'll have a plan, next month we'll have a plan, in 2 weeks we'll have a plan. Here.
You had originally said you were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. What is your plan now in 2020 to make health care costs affordable for Americans like myself?
So we got rid of the individual mandate on Obamacare, which was the worst part of Obamacare, and now you could actually say it's not Obamacare because that's how big it was, where you had to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. So.
Okay, can I just stop it right there? It was $626 a year to go naked, meaning that we, who are insured, would pay for you to go uninsured. And that penalty of $600 a year was to help cover your costs. All right.
We got rid of that. That was a big, big thing. And by doing that, and we will always have, by the way, we're always protecting people with pre-existing conditions, and I can't say that more strongly.
Oh my
but
God.
we've been able to bring health care costs way down. Now,
what?
I took over Obamacare, got rid of the individual mandate, made it good, managed it much better. Remember, they had the $5 billion website disaster and all of the problems they had. The problem with Obamacare, it's not good. We'd like to terminate it, and we want a much less expensive health care that's a much better health care, and that's where we're aiming. And if we can do that, and we have a very good chance of doing it, but we've also brought down the price of Obamacare.
What?
But with Obamacare, it basically is never going to be great, and I want to give great health care.
Mr. President, I got to follow
thank you very much.
on the pre-existing conditions. This is such a big issue for voters.
It is a big issue for me, too.
In point of fact, your administration is about to go to the Supreme Court to argue to throw out the rest of Obamacare, which includes the protections for pre-existing conditions.
That's right.
So your administration is in court right now trying to get rid of that protection.
In order to replace it with a much better health care at a much lower price, and always, under all circumstances, we are going to protect the Republicans. And I mean, maybe I changed the party a lot over the last 3 years, but we will protect people with pre-existing conditions. And Savannah, what I want to do, get rid of the terrible Obamacare. I've already done it to a large extent because, as you know, the individual mandate is gone. That was the worst part.
You repealed, but you haven't replaced. Now, you've been in office almost 4 years.
What we have done.
You had both houses of Congress, Senate and House, in Republican hands, and there is not a replacement yet.
That's right. I'm sorry, but if you look, we had both houses, and what did we do? We got rid of the individual mandate.
But
that went through the legislature.
The promise was repeal and replace.
Look, we should be on the same side. I want it very simple. I'm going to put it very simple. We would like to terminate it, and we would like to replace it with something that's much less expensive and much better. We will always protect people with pre-existing conditions.
But if you're successful
in
court in November, those pre-existing conditions, that promise will be gone.
If we don't succeed, we are running the remnants of whatever's left because we took it apart. We are running the remnants of whatever is left much better than the previous administration, which ran it very badly. But we'd like to have new health care, much better and much less expensive.
He's so full of crap.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Last night he said that he he has a health care plan. He has a big health care plan. Back in July.
Of course he does.
Okay.
Allison, of course
he said he was going to unveil it. In July, he said he was going to unveil it in 2 weeks. What is this? What is he doing? Why is there a secret? Why is he not unveiling anything?
Let's go right back to what I just said a second ago. It's a con. In other words, he hasn't put out a single bill that has been bipartisan. Everything that he's done has been what? Through executive order, right? If he has a bill for health care, which this country so desperately needs, well, release it. Release it right now. He can't. Why? Because he doesn't have one. Right. So what he'll say is, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn around and we're going to now allow insurance companies to go over state lines. It'll cause competition. And I know about competition, and I know about knocking down prices because of the competition. That's going to be his health care plan. He doesn't have one. So he tells you he does, but just trust me. Trust me. I have it, and it's going to be great. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Just watch. It's going to be wonderful. It's a lie. And everything that he's telling the American people is a lie.
Wow. So that's Michael Cohen's take on the healthcare situation in this country, which obviously is the number one issue for America as we pass 8 million infections in this country. We're at 8,015,380 infections in this country. Donald Trump has no plan, none whatsoever, for funding hospitals, for funding EMTs, for funding the states, for funding police, for funding teachers, for funding schools, to reopen, to do it in a way that is smart, to do it in a way that's aware. He has nothing. He lies, he cons, he always manipulates reality to suit him. And I'm sorry, but that's a conspiracy theorist. That's not a president of the United States. If he wants to go back to his freaking Trump Tower apartment that's all, ungapachkat in gold leaf, then let him go. Let him go do that. Let him tweet all day about conspiracy theories. Yesterday I was telling you about this conspiracy theory that Donald Trump retweeted from a group of people who are QAnon people, right? And I believe we have the tweet. Somebody actually called the show and said, "You're a liar because you can't produce the tweet." While I was on the air, like I hadn't seen it, or nobody had seen it, and only I was making this up. It was ridiculous. So last night he was asked about this retweet, which everybody outside of the faux news bubble, everyone outside of the Fox News bubble, Fox, one vowel movement away from what it does to the truth. Fox. Okay? And everybody had seen it. I mean, all the journalists in this country, all the reporters in this country watched Donald Trump's Twitter feed to see what holy hell he's going to rain down on his people today, or on the 85 million followers he has. And he tweeted a conspiracy theory, a QAnon conspiracy theory, saying that America, that Barack Obama and Joe Biden murdered SEAL Team 6 to cover up the fact that a body double of Osama bin Laden was actually what was killed in Abbottabad, Pakistan in 2011. I swear to God. And people were literally calling the show, and I can't put them on the air because they can't stop cursing, number one. And I follow FCC regulations, and I just can't have people, screaming and yelling and cursing. So that's why you can't put them on the air, number one. And number two, I didn't want to give credence to these people who don't know to look at his Twitter feed. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Anyway, he was asked about it last night. He was asked, why does he retweet conspiracy theories that denigrate SEAL Team 6, that actually accuse Barack Obama and Joe Biden of murdering SEAL Team 6? And you know what his answer was last night? It was a retweet, and I put it out there because I got to get the word out. And let America decide. What? Let America decide if we kill our own soldiers? Let America decide if Osama bin Laden is really dead? Let America decide if Robert O'Neill, who is the guy who took the shot at Osama bin Laden, is a liar? And he's a Trump supporter, Robert O'Neill, SEAL Team 6. For the life of me, I don't understand why he does
Just this week, you retweeted to your 87 million followers a conspiracy theory that Joe Biden orchestrated to have SEAL Team 6, the Navy SEAL Team 6, killed to cover up the fake death of bin Laden. Now, why would you send a lie like that to your followers? You retweeted
That was a retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
You're not like someone's crazy uncle who can just retweet whatever.
That was a retweet, and I do a lot of retweets. And frankly, because the media is so fake and so corrupt, if I didn't have social media, I don't call it Twitter, I call it social media, I wouldn't be able to get the word out. And the word is false. And you know what the word is? The word is very simple. We're building our country stronger and better.
He's a very sick man. You can decide whether or not America killed SEAL Team 6. It was an opinion. He retweeted it because he has to get the word out. But the word was false, she said. Well, I'll let America decide. Let America decide what? If we killed our own soldiers? If Osama bin Laden isn't dead? What is wrong with? Why does he? And the people that defend this, that actually sit there and say the media is so biased. This is the conspiracy crap that the man is feeding people who live inside of a fake world, people who live inside of Trump land, people who live inside of MAGA, people who they live on Uranus. They're out on another planet, and he feeds them and feeds them. And why does he feed them? What is the point of conspiracy theories? What is the point? It's twofold. One, to divide us, which is exactly what our adversaries want. They want America to be completely divided, one against the other, because divided we can't stand. And then, they can have their way with us because we're a divided country. And two, make people doubt that the government can do anything anymore, so that you will believe that we're better off with an autocrat. You will believe that we're better off cutting out all this government and just having a king. That is sick. That is sad. That is so not the originalist theory. It is not the theory of a republic. It is not. What have you given us? I've given you a republic if you can keep it. That is not that. This is something else. This is bizarre. This is unhinged. This is the lunatic fringe. And I will say, she really exposed Donald Trump for the incompetent psychopath that he is, but she couldn't have done it without the vigorous contributions from Donald Trump himself. This was madness. This was absolute mass madness. Meanwhile, on the other channel, if you went there, all of a sudden, it was the Earth. It was the Earth, and it was America. Complicated, complex, problems to solve, solutions you may or may not agree with, but at least a discussion about community policing and a discussion about how to open the economy.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
While we're denouncing, let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard. But I know nothing about it.
They believe it is a satanic cult run by the deep state.
Study the subject. I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down cities run by Democrats, not run by Republicans.
Republican Senator Ben Sass said, quote, QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories. Why not just say it's crazy and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you another thing.
Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it very strongly.
But there's not a satanic pedophile cult being run by.
I know nothing
You don't know that? Okay.
No, I don't know
you
that.
Just this
neither
week.
do you know that.
Okay, just this week
why,
you
why
retweeted.
Why aren't you asking me about Antifa? Why aren't you asking me about the radical left?
Because you're
why
volunteering.
Why aren't you asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before me.
No, she's so cute. Antifa exists.
It does not. QAnon is a national security threat, as the FBI, National Security Advisor, the intelligence community has explained. If the President of the United States is unaware of a national security threat and doesn't know that QAnon is a national security threat to the United States, then he can't be president, okay? He can't be president. And that is why he was being asked about why he retweets QAnon conspiracy theorists. Now, here's the tweet. Brett, you can put it up on the screen for the people that aren't aware that the Donald Trump account, which you can see right there, see the red arrow we put on that? Okay, that is Oscar the Midnight Rider 1111. He is a QAnon human who suggests an explosive story that has been put out by QAnon, and that explosive story is that America's past president was such an evil deep state stooge, I don't know, that he literally murdered SEAL Team 6 in order to cover up the fact that Iran has Osama bin Laden, and that there was a deal made, I swear to God, with Iran to hang on to Osama bin Laden until the Iranian nuclear deal, and like as if the money that Iran got back didn't come from the whole world's banking system, who had frozen Iran's assets way back in the 70s, right? And that the money that Iran got was a release of the entire world's banking system's frozen cash from Iran, right? No, leave it up there. And that instead, we made a deal with Iran and paid them all this cash. Paid like we came out of pocket and paid them cash. And then they reneged on the deal, and they sent a Osama bin Laden body double to Abbottabad, Pakistan. And that's who SEAL Team 6 killed, the body double. And so to cover it all up, Joe Biden and Barack Obama had to kill American SEAL Team 6. We had to kill them. That is what Donald Trump is retweeting. And what is also included on this page that you're looking at is Robert J. O'Neill. You'll see him on the top there. And he said, I know who I killed, homie, every time. He's the shooter. He's the person who killed, from SEAL Team 6, that killed Osama bin Laden. Okay? And the president okay, you could take it out. And the president retweets this. And then people are actually questioning me. Where did you get this information? From his Twitter feed. And when he's asked about it, I don't know. I want the American people to decide what is there left to decide? Whether or not Barack Obama murdered SEAL Team 6, or whether or not we were duped and, Robert O'Neill, the shooter for SEAL Team 6 who killed Osama bin Laden, got the wrong guy, and he killed Osama bin Johnson, a body double? This is really sick and twisted. Okay. And then she asked him to please denounce white supremacy. And he did it the way a 4-year-old finally picks up his toys after the 100th time that you tell him to pick up his toys. Okay? He was given yet another chance to unequivocally reject white supremacy. And instead he took the opportunity to endorse conspiracy theorists It's so unpresidential. It's so un-American. It's so beneath the office of the presidency. The way and what was that one leg posture with the one leg down on the floor? Not to be nitpicky or persnickety, but it looked like he was trying to sneak a fart the whole time. I don't know. What burned out planet is this man talking about? What burned out edge of distance star system alpha that's getting sucked into a black vortex of a hole is he broadcasting from? This is not our country. Our country does not have a president that speaks this way about anything. About anything. And when she did get serious and they went to the audience questions, the questions were about healthcare. The questions were about DACA. And he lied. He literally lied. He said, we were defending DACA. We were defending DACA. And then the pandemic happened. That is a lie. They got a decision in court. He actually wanted to get rid of DACA. He wanted to deport the Dreamers, as we all know, and went to court to try and do it. And the Dreamers now have to apply every year for DACA status instead of every 2 years. He's making it so hard for kids whose only country that they know is America. Kids who cannot even have a traffic ticket to maintain their Dreamer status. You can't even have a traffic ticket. You have to be in school in order to get your status renewed every 2 years, right? I mean, these are some of the most trustworthy, high-performing, dedicated American citizens that we have. And he's trying to feed this white supremacist base of his by punishing them for not even having a traffic ticket and saying that they're not worthy to be here. I mean, it's just this. I'm telling. And as far as the crazy uncle comment she made, Savannah Guthrie, when she said, you can't be tweeting out QAnon, you're not somebody's crazy uncle, that was false. Mary Trump, that's her uncle.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy.
Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
And my concern is that he would grab up that power and really treat the country as sort of his little bully fiefdom.
Donald Trump is everything I taught my children not to do in kindergarten.
He's been exploiting working Americans for 40 years.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
He says he's for the little guy, but he's actually built a lot of his businesses on the backs of the little guy.
Donald Trump the other day said that, quote, if he tells a soldier to commit a war crime, the soldier will just go do it.
And I don't think Donald Trump has even read the Constitution, knows what's in the Constitution.
A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense.
I just cannot support Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a delusional narcissist and an orange-faced windbag.
Donald Trump is a con artist.
He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
They all knew. They all knew then. They all know now. And in fact, it seems like Mitch McConnell is cutting them loose now because Mitch McConnell knows this is going to be a bloodbath and he would like to remain the majority leader in the Senate. And so Ben Sasse was on a constituent phone call yesterday with 1,700 constituents in Nebraska. Ben Sasse is a senator from Nebraska. And one of the people on the phone call asked Ben Sasse, why do you criticize Donald Trump so much? Well, that would be news to everybody in this country who never hears Republicans criticize Donald Trump so much. They did before Donald Trump became the president. They knew exactly who Donald Trump was. They still know who Donald Trump is. They know he's a con man. They know he's a demagogue. They know that he's lazy. They know that he uses the presidency to enrich himself, to be a bully fiefdom, to browbeat people, to denigrate people, to hurt people, to separate women from their children, to send a message, which is a human rights violation. They know he's been impeached and that he's continually taking information from the same Russian intelligence outfits that he was taking information from in 2016. Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon just got caught with this bogus story about a computer belonging to Hunter Biden, who lives in Los Angeles, by the way, but he dropped off his computer in Delaware. He didn't take his Mac to a Mac store. No, he took his Mac to some unscrupulous store in Delaware and dropped it off and never picked it back up. And the owner of the store decided he would give this computer to Rudy Giuliani 19 days ahead of an election. Right. Yeah. So that's a bogus story. And if go look at TechCrunch. I don't think TechCrunch is a partisan website. In anybody's imagination, it couldn't possibly be. TechCrunch, the article is in the homework section today at randyrhodes.com. Click on homework. It's free. Have at it. The TechCrunch article is there, and it points out all that's wrong with that story and why nobody should report it. And last night, lunatic fringy people were like, why didn't they ask Biden about the Hunter Biden computer? That is a question for Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. The question for Donald Trump is, why and how did Rudy Giuliani end up with a supposed computer belonging to Hunter Biden? How did Rudy Giuliani end up being the partisan person that this blind store owner in Delaware, who can't identify who dropped off the computer, how convenient, and it's not encrypted, he was able to get it. Listen, anybody who knows anything about Macs, okay, they're all encrypted. There's no way to get in there without a code. Either you do a PIN code or face recognition or whatever. There is no such thing, okay? So the TechCrunch article points out why this is a bogus story. But that was a question for Donald Trump. How did Rudy come and Steve Bannon end up with this computer, and why are they saying that it was Hunter Biden's, and that there was videos, apparently, supposedly, let's put it, of Hunter Biden on crack on this computer? Give me a freaking break here with this. You're going to fall again for email stories? 19 days, 18 days ahead of an election, you're going to fall. Listen, fool me once. You're going to fall again for Russian intelligence talking. I mean, this is insanity what's going on here in this country. Insanity. But anyway, Ben Sasse was asked, why are you so hard on Donald Trump? And he laid out his case because Mitch McConnell has finally cut them loose so that they can tell their constituents that they're not really believing anything about this man being presidential.
The way he kisses dictators' butts. I mean, the way he ignores that the Uyghurs are in literal concentration camps in Xinjiang right now. He hasn't lifted a finger on behalf of the Hong Kongers. I mean, he and I have a very different foreign policy. It isn't just that he fails to lead our allies, it's that the United States now regularly sells out our allies under his leadership. The way he treats women and spends like a drunken sailor, the ways I criticize President Obama for that kind of spending, I criticize President Trump for as well. He mocks evangelicals behind closed doors. His family has treated the presidency like a business opportunity. He's flirted with white supremacists.
That's pretty complete. There's, Republican Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska telling his constituents why he criticizes Donald Trump so much, which he doesn't. Because Mitch McConnell has finally cut them loose. And I'll tell you who's just like really so scared that he broke the law yesterday. Truly. Lindsey Graham broke the law yesterday. Lindsey Graham is a parasite. How do you explain that Lindsey Graham said, I think he's a religious bigot, I think he's a white supremacist, I think he's a racist, I think he's a kook, I think he's crazy, I think he's unfit for the presidency, and then all of a sudden Lindsey Graham becomes like the best mouthpiece that Donald Trump could have ever wished and hoped for? Well, the answer is simple. It's because Lindsey Graham is a parasite, and whoever has power, Lindsey Graham hops onto and sucks off of that person's power. That's how Lindsey Graham stays in the Senate. Okay, after all these years, that's what Lindsey Graham does. Because the question about Lindsey Graham came up when Donald Trump first criticized Lindsey Graham's best buddy, John McCain. When Donald Trump said he wasn't a war hero, when Donald Trump trashed John McCain, when John McCain cast the thumbs down vote to repeal Obamacare without a replacement, that is, that was Lindsey Graham's time to prove that he had character and that he had a spine. But Lindsey Graham's a parasite. And he saw that Trump had power and he wanted some of that, so he stuck with it. Well, yesterday, Lindsey Graham was in the Senate building, freaking out about how Jamie Harrison is kicking his behind all over the place in at least money, right? In raising money. And so Lindsey Graham decided to break the law. There is a federal statute that says that a senator, this is why the senators leave the Senate and they go to their offices, which are in like the Hart Building or or sometimes they even just go to their cars to make fundraising phone calls. That's why they go to Charlie Palmer's in the morning for fundraising breakfasts, and they go to Signatures, which was owned by Jack Abramoff, for lunch, and then they go for a cocktail party off the campus, let's say, of the Senate, because it's illegal. It's illegal to ask for money in any of the Senate's federal buildings. Same with the House, okay? And Lindsey Graham just he committed a crime yesterday right there on C-SPAN.
Well, I think people in South Carolina are excited about Judge Barrett. I don't know how much it affected fundraising today, but if you want to help me close the gap, lindseygraham.com, a little bit goes a long way.
Oh my God.
The bottom line is my opponent raised $57 million. Congratulations to him. That's the most anybody's ever raised in the history of the Senate. I raised $28 million, the most any Republican has ever raised. I think the contest in South Carolina has taken on sort of a national profile.
That is illegal. You can look it up. It's 18 U.S. 607, okay? 18 U.S. Code, Section 607. That should cost him $5,000 or 3 years in prison or both. That is illegal. Soliciting contributions, lindseygraham.com, in the Senate. They don't care.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind. These are the people Trump doesn't want you to believe. The media, Woodward, Republicans, governors, FBI directors, police officers, generals, Gold Star families, mothers, his own advisors, his own family, former employees, experts, whistleblowers, activists, scientists, world leaders.
This man is a pathological liar.
He is a cheat.
A racist.
Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud.
One of the most disheartening
Who's left? Vote November 3rd.
Thank
the
you.
Democratic coalition is responsible for the content of this ad.
I mean, you have to deny the entire existence of every person on this planet and what they have said about their doings, dealings, with Donald Trump, including Lindsey Graham, including Ted Cruz, including Dr. You have to disbelieve science and physics, and in order to believe Donald Trump. And this is why I get so exercised. Okay, this is why I get so hysterical. People want to know where does all this emotion come? Because it's breaking my heart. That's where it's coming from. It's breaking my heart that there are people I know, people who have been in my house, people who are my neighbors, people who are my friends, people who are my family, people who are your family, people in this country want to believe the worst about America. They want to believe terrible, ugly, heinous, hideous things about America. Some of them want to believe that America is run by pedophiles. Some of them want to believe that that Donald Trump represents America. Some of them want to believe there's a real America and a fake America. Some of them want to stand on their soapbox and declare that the press, the media, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the FBI, they're dirty cops, the media, the enemy of the people. This kills me. This really breaks my heart that we kill our own soldiers, okay? When Donald Trump clearly stood on a stage yesterday, swear to God, this got lost because we had dueling town halls. Donald Trump stood on a stage yesterday and admitted that he is just like Duterte in the Philippines, okay? Extrajudicial killings. That he literally killed a man because they didn't want to arrest him and go through the whole due process thing. And so they killed a man. He literally said that yesterday. Yesterday.
We sent in the U.S. Marshals. Took 15 minutes, it was over. 15 minutes, it was over. We got him. They knew who he was. They didn't want to arrest him. And 15 minutes, that ended.
They didn't want to arrest him. No, you're supposed to try to arrest somebody, not kill somebody because you don't want to arrest them. And the reason is because we believe in due process. The President of the United States keeps showing you nothing and telling you everything about who he is and what lengths he will go to. He really does believe that he can kill people. He does. He just admits it. He admits it right there. And that people will still vote for him because they want to believe America is a terrible, horrible conspiracy. That America, the American dream is dead. America is dead. Elections are now rigged in this country. That you could kill people without due process because he said so, and they will cheer. They cheered. They actually applauded that. Let me play this for you again, okay?
We sent in the U.S. Marshals. Took 15 minutes, it was over. 15 minutes, it was over. We got him. They knew who he was. They didn't want to arrest him. And 15 minutes, that ended.
They cheered that. They cheered a president of the United States bragging about an extrajudicial killing because the person he killed was supposedly a left-wing Antifa person, which he wasn't. But I mean, this is just so sick and sad. Also yesterday, Dr. Fauci, who is the most trusted man in America when it comes to epidemiology and pandemics, who has served under, 6 presidents? He's 79 years old. Donald Trump decided Dr. Fauci is a Democrat. And by saying that, he's giving the people who want to believe the worst about America, the worst, he's giving them permission to not follow CDC or NIH guidelines, right?
Then you have my friend, and he's a nice guy, Tony Fauci. He's a nice guy. He said, this is not a threat. This is not a problem. Don't worry about this. Not that one's a problem. It's the craziest thing. Then he said, do not wear a mask. Do not wear a mask under any circumstances. Don't wear a mask. Don't, right? So if we don't wear a mask, then they say, oh, wear a mask. I never saw it. Do you ever see any conflicts? But he's a nice guy, so I keep him around, right? We'll keep him around.
Oh, my God.
He's a Democrat. Everybody knows that. He's Cuomo's friend. Cuomo did the worst job of any governor in the United States.
Oh, my God. Now, Dr. Fauci has twisted himself into many positions, some that aren't even in the Kama Sutra, okay, in order not to be partisan, in order not to trash this president in public, in order to try and explain away why Donald Trump is Donald Trump, okay, and to just give the best advice that he could give. Now, we all know Tony Fauci told us not to wear masks, because there was a shortage, thanks to Donald Trump, of masks. There was a PPE shortage, and he actually was on TV telling people the reason why at the beginning we told people don't wear masks is because we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough. And we didn't want the frontline workers to have to go without. And Donald Trump refused to send PPE. He told the governors to go bid against each other in some giant eBay auction. Larry Hogan, the Republican governor, actually had to go to South Korea using connections that his wife had and ask for tests to be sent to him. Gretchen Whitmer, same thing, except for Gretchen Whitmer, they were stealing her deliveries. And Donald Trump started screaming, liberate Michigan, liberate. And the next thing you know, there's a plot to kidnap and kill her. Why do Americans applaud this? Why? Because they really despise this country. They hate it. They hate everything about it. They hate the democracy. They hate the difficulty of being a democracy. They hate the debate. They hate the media. They hate reading. They hate understanding. It is just, listen, the only people that support Donald Trump anymore, the Republicans are now peeling off, okay? He's losing Republicans. Vulnerable Republicans. You know. He's losing senior citizens. He's losing white women. He's losing suburban voters. He's losing Republicans. And the only people he has left, uneducated white people who want to believe that America is literally plotting against them. Literally plotting against them. Instead of looking at the gravy train of money that has corrupted representative government. They want to believe the election is rigged. They do. They want to believe America cannot hold an election for some reason. So you have Ben Sass ripping Trump a new one, right? And it's hard to rip a new one because he is one. Because they're getting in their lifeboats now. And the president sits on a stage and defends retweeting QAnon conspiracy theories that allege that Barack Obama and Joe Biden killed SEAL Team 6, killed our own soldiers, murdered our own soldiers during the same day that he admitted that he extrajudicially killed a guy because he thought he was Antifa.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
You said that you would lock down the economy only if the scientists said it was necessary.
Well, by the way, that wasn't the context. They said, would I lock down the economy if science said so? I said I'd follow science. But I don't think there's a need to lock down.
But I want to press you on that point.
Sure.
You've been in the Oval Office for 8 years with President Obama. He would always say that only the hard-to-solve problems get to his desk. What is most likely to happen is the scientists will disagree. The scientists will disagree with the economists. So the question is, how are you going to decide this? Who are you going to listen to, and how can you contain the pandemic without crushing the economy?
Well, you can contain the pandemic by being rational and not crush the economy. For example, I laid out a plan how you can open businesses. You can open businesses and schools if, in fact, you provide them the guidance that they need as well as the money to be able to do it.
Hello.
What's happening now is we know, for example, if you can open a business and you could have a sign on the door saying safe to come in, that's why people aren't going anyway even when they're open, and say because you have social distancing, you have plastic barriers when you go to the cashier, you have separators between the booths, you don't have large crowds, you reduce the size, the number of people you can have in the restaurant, you make sure there's testing. That's a really critical piece that he didn't do, testing and tracing. Hello. And you make sure that people are equipped going to schools. You know, we initially said, the government initially said they were going to provide masks for every student and every teacher. Then they said, no. FEMA said, the president or whomever said, no, that's not a national emergency. not a national emergency. We need more teachers in our schools to be able to open smaller pods. We need ventilation systems changed. Well, there's a lot of things we know now. And I laid them out in some detail. Now, again, when I say I laid them out, I'm not an office holder. I'm running for office. It's not like I'm still vice president or I was a United States senator pushing this. So I don't want to say I. But we did lay out exactly what needed to be done. And take a look. We make up 4% of the world's population. We have 20% of the world's deaths. We're in a situation where we have 210,000+ people dead. And what's he doing? Nothing. He's still not wearing masks and so on.
So if you want to, people who are, believing the worst about America and think that Donald Trump somehow represents American values, which apparently are cheating on your taxes, lying, demagoguing, and being lazy. I don't know. Well, why doesn't Joe Biden lay out his plan? As if Joe Biden hasn't laid out his plan. You can go to joebiden.com and you don't have to give any money. You can click past it and then go look at all his policies that he's laid out. The economic recovery policy, the policy for COVID, his health care plan, his climate change plan, his community policing plan, his justice reform. It is all there. And because people don't want to read, or because people are so incurious, and because people want to believe the worst about America, that we can't even hold an election anymore. That's how bad America is. It sucks. It's bad. They won't read the opponent's plan, and then they'll say on top of it, there is no plan. That just freaks me out, okay? I mean, and I always, even my friendly callers, even the callers who understand the world in which they operate, the world in which they live, who call, if they say, well, I haven't heard, and why doesn't Biden say, or how come he didn't? I always say, just because you didn't hear it doesn't mean it wasn't said. Now, it is my job to almost hear every word, every syllable that's said about policy in this country. It's my job, and I do it happily because I enjoy it. But don't tell me, because you don't have that as your job description, that because you haven't heard or because you didn't see, that it didn't happen. That's the denial of reality is almost impossible. And it's getting deeper and deeper and darker and darker. Testing never occurred in this country in any meaningful way. Contact tracing. Donald Trump had a cluster of COVID in the White House. His own wife got it. His own son got it. He got it. Chris Christie got it. Chris Christie just came out of the hospital. He was in ICU for like 6 or 7 days. He said he's so sorry he let his guard down and that the price he paid was steep, okay? But he's all right. Anyway, all these people around Donald Trump contracted the virus, and they wouldn't even allow contact tracing, okay? They wouldn't allow it. Why? Because it would have revealed everyone Donald Trump came in contact with. Same with Lindsey Graham. He wouldn't take a COVID test when he had a debate. Jamie Harrison, he wouldn't take the test. Why? Because that would reveal everyone Lindsey Graham came in contact with, and I don't think the boys want to be named. It's a very strange and sick position. We never tested the way that we ought to. Everybody knows we have to do millions and millions of tests every week, okay? We never contact traced. And we can't now because we have too many infections. There was no rallying around protecting yourself or others with masks. There is no PPE going to schools. There is no focus on ventilation systems. There is no focus on smaller pods of students. There's no focus on businesses opening in a safe way as opposed to just randomly, opening the schools, randomly letting everybody, be inside and dining. He lied last night. He said 85% of people that wear masks got COVID. That is a bizarre and disgusting lie. It's really hard now to quote the CDC because the CDC has been taken over by Dr. Atlas, a Fox radiologist, an X-ray reader. He's a radiologist. He's not an epidemiologist. He's not an infectious disease specialist. He's a radiologist. But Trump saw him on TV and he liked him, just like if Trump saw Larry Kudlow on TV and he liked him. Trump sees you on TV. If he likes you, you go work for him. That's how he picks the great people. But Dr. Atlas is perpetuating this herd immunity idea that 200 million Americans ought to get infected and that whoever dies, dies. And if you have, 1% of people who contract COVID dying, you're looking at 2 million people dead. And they think that's a good plan. So Trump decided to tell people last night that if you wear a mask, you're going to give it to yourself. 85% of mask wear, that's what he was implying. 85% of people who wear masks get COVID. Okay, this was a CDC study of 200 people, about 240 people, who got COVID. 240 people. And they asked them, do you wear masks most of the time? They said, yes, they do. But they also said they go to indoor dining. It was part of a pool of contact tracing. They were trying to figure out what do people have in common who contract COVID. So they did a small sample, 240 people. He totally left out the part where they wore masks, but they took them off to go do indoor dining. This is crazy. He just is too lazy to fight.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, again, somebody called me a liar and said, why don't you tell the truth about Fauci and masks? I'll let Fauci tell you.
What about a month or so, or 2 or 3 ago, when people were saying, you don't really need to wear a mask? Well, the reason for that is that we were concerned, the public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 masks and the surgical masks, were in very short supply. And we wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way to take care of people who were infected with the coronavirus and the danger of them getting infected. We did not want them to be without the equipment that they needed. So there was not enthusiasm about going out and everybody buying a mask or getting a mask. We were afraid that that would deter away from the people who really needed it.
Don't call me a liar. I don't lie. On February 7th, the World Health Organization warned that there was a limited stock of personal protection equipment. And that same day, Donald Trump announced it was sending 18 tons of masks and gowns and respirators to China. Go check. Go Google it. Stop calling me a liar. You just are so full of rage and hatred that anything that causes some cognitive dissonance in your culty little head where you've been in a bubble believing that Donald Trump is honest, Donald Trump has the best interests of the American people at heart, Donald Trump wouldn't kill anybody without a trial, Donald Trump didn't shake down Ukraine, Donald Trump didn't get impeached, Donald Trump didn't get help from Russia, Donald Trump isn't a tax cheat, Donald Trump doesn't... Whatever. You want to believe America can't hold an election. You want to believe America is some also-ran nation that kills its own soldiers. You want to believe that Donald Trump's white supremacist vision of America is a good thing. The only thing I can tell you is when you hear the truth, the reason why it stings the way it does and makes you so angry is because it's called cognitive dissonance. When you are presented with true facts, with people in their own voice, in their own writing, in their own footnotes, in their own court decisions, when they show you the truth of things, It violates all that he got you to believe. And it hurts your brain. Doesn't mean I'm a liar. It means you've been in a bubble. Come out, wherever you are. It's enough already. Enough of the chaos. Nancy in Minnesota.
Hi, Randy.
Hey.
Hey, I'm a nurse at a major hospital in Minneapolis, and I take care of COVID patients.
Oh, my God.
And if Trump was, his statement about wearing masks can cause you to get COVID, you'd have a hell of a lot of healthcare workers keeling over with COVID.
Exactly. I mean, if wearing a mask actually caused COVID, we'd be at herd immunity right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Well, I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, I appreciate you, too.
No, you're one of the angels that walk among us, so thank you so very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alice in Oregon.
First off, Randy, God, you're the best thing about Fridays for years now. Anyway, I am so frustrated with this Mitch McConnell thing. You were talking about how he had kind of let all of his senators loose. I mean, are they really that cynical about their voters? Mitch McConnell keeps getting reelected with the lowest approval rate in the Senate.
That's because Kentuckians don't vote. They don't show up.
Even in the state where Breonna Taylor was killed?
So, this year, we're setting records for turnout. This year, everybody seems to vote. Everybody. I mean, I can't wait to see when it's all said and done what the percentage of the voting, Americans was. I think we'll do 70% this year. I would hope we do more. I know in Travis County, Texas, 97% got registered to vote. So the turnout this year is going to be astronomical. People are literally sick of it. The chaos, the lying, the deceit, the deception, the manner in which he conducts himself, the phony way in which he poses himself as somebody who gets things or reads things or knows things or hires the best people or people are sick of it. Okay.
Just his behavior in that debate with Amy McConnell, I mean. It seemed, though, like he was a man who knew something, like had something in his back pocket.
Mitch McConnell.
And it was appalling.
Yeah, because he probably knows that most Kentuckians, because it's rural, it's, you have Louisville, you have Lexington, you have some really, decent, nice places, cities, but for the most part, Kentuckians are living in rural areas, and they're fighting off drug addiction, and there's a lot of despair in those areas, and it's because they keep having Mitch McConnell as their senator, but they don't even know his name. They don't even know his name. They have no idea. If you ask them who their senators were, they wouldn't know. Okay, because they're very busy surviving. They're very busy trying not to go through withdrawals. They're very busy trying to get beer. They're very busy trying to get Red Stripe bologna or ketchup and hot water. I lived there. It's a really sad state of affairs there. And Donald Trump tried to talk them into, hey, coal miners or Appalachians, we got you. You're the forgotten man. We have negative growth. We have negative jobs. We're down 10.7 million jobs. The coal miners have been laid off. I mean, they won't vote. They won't. I hope this year, for some strange reason, for 10 minutes of their lives, they vote. I hope they do.
I hope you're right.
I do. I hope. And that's the tough part about Kentucky and Southern Ohio and Western West Virginia. I mean, there are really nice places in all these states. I unfortunately lived in the armpit of some of those states. But it gave me an opportunity to know these people. Are they nice people? Yes. Do they try as hard as they can given the circumstances that they find themselves in? Yes, except they're not involved in civics. They're not. Joe on Long Island.
Hi, Randy. Thanks for taking my call. Where do I begin? I just want to go back to 2017 when Obama officials tried a team to deal with the pandemic. They briefed the Trump coming in team, and Wilbur Ross actually fell asleep. They didn't want nothing to do with it. All right? That was a setup to avert a 6-alarm fire. All right? And it all stems from that. I don't call this a China virus. This is the Trump virus.
It is the Trump virus. Wherever it came from, it could have been defeated by now, here by us, if we had leadership. We don't. He's too lazy. Oh.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, this is going to take some care, okay? You're going to have to listen. Because people are saying, why didn't they ask Biden about court packing? And why didn't Biden give an answer about court packing? He did give an answer. He wants to see if the Senate is completely broken or if parliamentarian rules could save the day before he becomes the topic. And if Joe Biden said he was for court packing, or if Joe Biden said he was against court packing at this juncture, people would not listen or pay attention to what is going on in the Senate with this rush 18 days ahead of an election. 18 days ahead of an election to put somebody on the Supreme Court for a lifetime appointment when she has not completed her disclosure forms. Jeez, people, think.
How about that question of expanding the court? Here's what you said exactly 1 year ago tonight at a Democratic debate. You said, I would not get into court packing. I would not pack the court. That's not what you're saying now. Is the nomination of Judge Barrett reason enough to rethink your position?
What is the nomination? What I wanted to do, George, you know, if I had answered the question directly, then all the focus would be on what's Biden going to do if he wins, instead of on, is it appropriate what is going on now?
Right.
And it should stay, this is the thing that the president loves to do, always take our eye off the ball. What's at stake? One of the things Pete has suggested is, and there's a number of constitutional scholars have suggested as well, that there are at least 4 or 5 options that are available to determine whether or not you can change the way in which the court lifetime appointment takes place, consistent, arguably, with the Constitution. I have not been a fan of court packing because I think it just generates what will happen. Whoever wins, it just keeps moving in a way that is inconsistent with what is going to be manageable.
So you're still not a fan?
Well, I'm not a fan. I then say it depends on how this turns out. Not how he wins, but how it's handled.
Right.
How it's handled.
Right.
But there's a number of things that are going to be coming up, and there's going to be a lot of discussion about other alternatives as well.
What does that mean, how it's handled? How will that determine whether you're for expanding the court?
For example, there's actually real live debate on the floor.
Right.
If people are really going to be able to have a time to go through this. You know, I don't know anybody who's gone on the floor and that's been a controversial justice in terms of fundamentally altering the makeup of the court that's gone through in a day kind of thing. I mean, it depends on how much they rush this. And you think about it, George. Here you got a lot of people not being able to pay their mortgage, not being able to put food on the table, not being able to keep their business open, not being able to do anything to deal with what's going on in terms of the economy as a consequence of COVID, and they have no time to deal with that, but they have time to rush this through.
Well, right now, it looks like they're going to have a vote around Halloween. So if they vote on it before the election, if they vote on it before the election, you are open to expanding the court?
I'm open to considering what happens from that point on.
You know, you said so many times during the campaign, all through the course of your career, it's important to level with the American
but George,
people.
if I say, no matter what answer I gave you, if I say it, that's the headline tomorrow. It won't be about what's going on now, the improper way they're proceeding.
But don't voters have a right to know where you stand?
They do have a right to know where they stand, and they'll have a right to know where I stand before they vote.
So you'll come out with a clear position before Election Day?
Yes.
So obviously the vote is supposed to take place on October 22nd. That's why he feels confident that he can give you an answer about how they dealt with it, whether it was a fair procedure, whether it was rushed, whether parliamentary rules were applied, or whether the majority just strong-armed their way through a process and put a girl on the court who has not completed even the most basic disclosures. Okay? And then he will, but there are other options besides for court packing. There are. You could term limit the Supreme Court justices. That's one option. So he will weigh in after he sees whether or not the Senate can still function under parliamentary rules. Now, he knows this because he's been a senator. He didn't answer the question. Yeah, he did. You just didn't like the answer. Yeah, he did. Rich in Colorado.
Randi, you are the all-time champion of truth tellers. Thank you for everything you do for us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. But I swear to God, I'm so. Oh, that's it? Really? Thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. Thank you. No, but honestly, I just want you to know I do it because I actually love this country. I actually love Americans. All of us. I get who we are. I get how hard it is. It's much harder than it has to be. That's for sure. I mean, look, Donald Trump walks around and he lies about this economy, right? It's the best economy in the history of America. It is so far from the truth, okay? Ronald Reagan, for God's sake, he had GDP at 7.2%. GDP right now is about 2%. 2 growth. Donald Trump promised you that if you let him transfer all your wealth to the top 1%, it would trickle down upon you, and you would see 4% growth, maybe 5%, he said. Remember that? Yeah, well, before COVID, we never, ever got over 2.3% growth. Never. That's the same growth rate that Obama had, 2.3% growth. Now, other presidents, Roosevelt, he had like 17% growth. Of course, that was a wartime thing. And that's why Republicans swear that war is the answer. Because during World War II, we created so much production here, so many jobs here to support the war effort here, that the GDP of this country went through the roof. They still are married to the idea that war is the answer. That's why they keep starting them, okay? That's why they keep perpetuating wars. They think it's an economic driver. It's not true. What the new economic driver in the 21st century is green energy. It is making turbines. It is creating the parts for the turbines here in the United States and building the turbines and the servicing of those turbines and the installing of those turbines and the installing of charging stations. All of these things. That is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. That's more than war. Okay. More than war. And if we don't lead that industry, trust me, China will. India will. They have 1 billion people in those countries. We have 350 million. So this is just blinding yourself to opportunity so that you can continue to hate this country. Now, why doesn't Trump do it? Because I keep telling you, he's too lazy and he's not smart. He's a marketer. That's what he's good at. Selling you. He's great at it. He's P.T. Barnum. But he isn't somebody that creates thousands of jobs. I mean, he always brags about how the Trump organization created thousands. That's not true. He stiffed the contractors. He didn't hire them. He contracted drywallers. He contracted painters. He contracted people to install windows. He didn't hire them. He didn't pay the payroll tax for them. And then he stiffed them. That's how he gets rich. Dishonestly. Kathy in Illinois.
Yeah, Randi, I just wondered about the caller that called you stupid. Apparently you're a cult member because about wearing the mask, I just had a friend die yesterday because from the COVID. And I want to thank you for letting people know that wearing masks helps. So I pray to God that if there is one, that they don't have to go through what I'm going through. what his family's going through.
I mean, I wish everybody the best. I really do. I just want them to smarten up. That's all. Smarten up, protect yourself, protect your children.
I know.
I mean, I used to think that the children were the dividing line. It was the breaking point. When they were asked to sacrifice themselves, I kind of knew that there was a death cult in this country. But when they were asked to sacrifice their children at the altar of Trump, I thought, okay, that's it. We've gone too, they won't go this far. They will go this far. That's how good of a demagogue he is. That's how good of a salesman he is. But that's what he's good at. He's good at selling, marketing. He's not good at building. What happened to Infrastructure Week? Where is his health care plan? Where's his plan for climate change or he has no plans for anything. He still can't answer the question what he'll do with the second term. He can't, because he hasn't given it any thought. I hope this was helpful. I really do. Have a good weekend.